I
It's like a 12-year-old child.
I literally am. I turn into a 12-year-old child when somebody tells me to be quiet. I'm like, in an elevator when there's this awkward silence, I just make a farting sound. Like I don't like. I'm sorry.
Well, it was appropriate because we're here to talk about gut health. So
Right.
So this is gonna be a.
I'm crying.
Not someone was crying. This is gonna be a really fun live, you guys. I hope you guys are in for a treat. So I am crying. Actually, I was laughing so hard. So welcome everyone to our live today. I'm Amanda from Nautical Dog, Schwartz's Cat Cove, and I have three beautiful ladies with me here today, Jay and Adrienne from the Two Crazy Cat Ladies, all the way from Las Vegas, and Jamie from Innovative Pet Lab, who is local to me. She's right here in Virginia Beach. So thank you guys all for coming on today. For those of you who do not know, this Saturday, I can't keep a straight face now. Can't do it. Tomorrow is National Dog and Cat Gut Health Awareness Day. So it seems like something so small and so easy to manage and to deal with, yet it is
Big
so much. And we could probably talk about this for 8 hours.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it for like, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour. And so there's that. Also, if you are watching live, please comment with the hashtag. I see Laura's doing it right now, Cat Gut Check. We are going to raffle off one of these from Innovative Pet Lab. So thank you. This is a comprehensive gut check. Awesome. We will talk about those. And
yeah.
Let's say something. Who are you?
Just for everybody that was actually here for the countdown and heard a weird noise and thought people were crying, it was because Jay just did this. Which she loves to do. But I'm with you, Jamie. I think it's kind of appropriate.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Amanda set us up for failure. She's like, listen, guys, we're going to go on, but like everyone can hear us. And so that was immediately meant make fart noises. So it was, and then trying to behave for 60 more seconds, which did not go well.
We're very mature.
No,
we have been looking forward to this live though all week long.
Yeah.
And just I'm going to speak on behalf of our whole community. Very grateful for this because I do think that gut health is one of those things where maybe you're noticing your cat's acting a little bit off. You're really not sure. Like some days the poops are weird. Some days they're fine. Maybe there's vomiting. And it's like, well, nothing's really crazy. So
we're good.
Yeah.
I think everything's okay when this is actually part of what could be a more serious issue.
Well, and it's not talked about enough in the cat world. You know, like in the dog world, you hear a lot, or we hear a lot in the dog world about gut health.
Yeah.
And in the cat world, it's like there's still this like stigma that everybody thinks that like cats vomit. That's just what they do.
It's
like
normal.
they're just
They don't.
like
They do not.
No. There's memes about it.
Like stepping in cat puke at 3
Of course
a.m.
you're going to step in cat puke if you have a cat. Like that's not normal, guys. Like that's normal.
It's as normal as you throwing up.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you, like a doctor tells you like, oh, as you age, that's just part of it. I'm like, well, no, I don't want that to be part of my life. Like, I don't want that symptom. So no, I can't agree more. So I know I do love, like, you know, I laugh. There's a holiday for everything now, and being in the business of gut health, I'm absolutely for Gut Health Awareness Day for our animals. So I love that somebody created a holiday for us, obviously. But I do think it's something that's super important to talk about because I do think the term gut health is run out a lot right now, but people are like, what does that really even mean? Like, why should I care about my gut? Why should I care about my pet's gut? So I definitely think that bringing awareness to how important it is and how important it is to just overall health is something that we should talk about.
What is it, Jamie?
Yeah.
In the business of gut?
Yeah. I mean, so the gut encompasses so many things, right? So people think gut and think, oh, is it just microbiome? Or they think gut and they think like, you know, stools and poop and all that, but it is ultimately so much more. So 70% of your pet's immunity and your immunity is in your gut. So it's really, really impactful on overall health. And I think sometimes people forget like how there's so many obvious connections between the gut and the rest of your body. I'll talk about like, well, as a person, do you get like a nervous belly, right? Like you're really nervous and all of a sudden, like you got some GI things going on there. And that's that gut brain connection, right? It's that gut central nervous system connection. And so I don't think that you realize how much of your pet's body and how much and their overall health and yours is tied to overall gut health. And so when we talk about gut, that's just the small intestine, the large intestine, how it interacts with, secretions of the pancreas, how it goes from really the time that food enters your mouth until it exits that. That's all part of a GI system and overall health. And so there's so many touch points there that can impact, or have something that goes wrong. And then a symptom could be, obvious vomiting or diarrhea, but not obvious behavior changes, skin changes, just mood issues that weren't there before at all. And it's over time, gradually you start to see these effects and you go around a totally different rabbit hole, but really tracing it back to, was it actually a gut health problem?
Yep.
So,
right. And I love that Dr. Katie said, was it yesterday, that she was talking about the vagus nerve, right? Like that,
yes.
like for real. And how there's so much information, there's more information that moves down than up, right? From the gut to the brain. But you think about stress, we've had so many people reach out that are like, oh, my cat's doing something weird. And they think it's a funny video, when in fact, anytime any cat does something weird, like pay attention to it. There's so much that can be going on there. And there's, like you said, there's a lot of touch points in that whole stretch of things. But that when you don't realize how significant that is, sometimes it's really hard to pinpoint what's going on, which is why I love what you guys do, IPL, with the testing.
Yeah.
It's like maybe we've been into the vet and it's like, oh, blood work's good. This is okay. Everything seems fine. But there's still this weird thing going on. If you can test and see that there are some things happening.
Yeah.
It's so simple. Like, it's at home.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, again, because how many times you guys have, with your cats too, like taking them to the vet can be a chore, right?
Yes.
And I love that there's probably more cat-focused vet clinics. They understand that the trauma that these cats are experiencing when they go into these clinics and are exposed to, dogs or other people, that they're just like, listen, this has already elevated my stress level from a 1 to a 50 in a minute. And so for us, it was really important to create a test that not only was backed by clinical science and evidence, but can be easily done at home and gives pet parents the power to make informed decisions about their pet's overall health, right? You can continue to throw things against the wall and maybe one's going to stick, but how about finding, is it actually working? And do I have evidence to support that it is? And so that was really one of the foundational principles when we were deciding to make this lab and to bring this type of testing into the pet community, was that giving access to the pet parents at home for collection and also for the results was really a pillar of why we started this. So
yeah. And I mean, I love the fact that we can just, like, you don't even have to go outside. Like, you can literally just take the stool from the litter box.
And the website, the results are so cool. You can share them with your veterinarian. So it also helps with that whole conversation of, with your teammate and your cat's health.
Yep.
Love it. And then we look at different areas, like I touched on, the gut. What is the gut? So we look at, all areas of the gut, and we look at through byproducts. And so the byproducts of stool, there's actually a lot of information in our stool. We make a lot of poop jokes because you got to keep a little bit light when you have a stool lab. But the amount of information as the byproduct, think about it, the receipts for all your purchases, right? You purchase all these things, and where did I spend my money, right? And so that's what we're looking at. And so we can figure out, is there a leaky gut issue going on? Is there an inflammation issue going on? And I will tell you, especially in our cats, inflammation is a problem, and exposed to bad diets or exposed to, hiding symptoms for so long, that can really, really, really create problems later on. And why we don't look at things that are like, hey, this test means that your cat has cancer. We definitely don't make those claims. But what we do is say, hey, your cat has inflammation, and we made some treatment recommendations, and you've been following them for a few months, and on your retest, they did not go down. That's a big sign that there's a bigger problem there. And now it's the time for the diagnostic workup. Now it's the time for the red flag for the vet to be like, hey, there's a big problem here that we need to be addressed, because it should come down. And to your point, they shouldn't be throwing up. And so we know that there's an area that we can now focus on and attack, because that's where the problem is. So
yeah. I like the test a lot. I think what Katie Woodley said yesterday is, and you mentioned that too, it just takes out a lot of the guesswork. And we all can agree cats are so unbelievably picky. So just to try to get them to try something new anyways is hard. So if you can like take some of the trying out of it and narrow some things down, I think that's really helpful.
Yeah. But speaking of narrowing it down, one of our favorite tools that we work with is your guys' product with the Feline Essentials, in that it is backed by clinical evidence that is efficacious. We did a clinical trial together, and that I think is a big thing as pet parents. We should ask tough questions, right? I love when I get a tough question at the lab because it means that they're doing their homework. And we should ask those same tough questions to our foods that we eat or that we feed, and our nutraceuticals or our supplements that we give to our pets, and our toys. And so Feline Essentials is actually backed by clinical evidence that can improve overall gut health in our cats. So I'd love to share a little bit more about the product.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we always say you can't out supplement a bad diet, right? And it's true. It's true.
That was the hardest part of the clinical trial, by the way.
Tell about the setup of the trial, what we did.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's incredible because what an incredible opportunity to actually have science for our cats. There's so little out there, especially about something that's so, affects so many cats, IBD, IBS. And so we had 30 participants, which is a great test group, but we could not tell anybody to change the food they were feeding. Yeah. And some of these cats were really going through, tough times. But as Jamie and the scientists explained, like that's part of doing actual science, is that you cannot move too many markers or you're not going to know what's working, right? So that was the hardest part, is not being able to
coach people on diet.
Right.
Because the diet is so important. But you see, in this level, you guys got to we all got to see the, one of the questions was, what type of food do you feed? And we're looking at the, the markers, the gluten, right? For all of these cats that are fed a kibble diet. And you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. We didn't understand it. Like, you guys are the science junkies. Like, you guys are the smart ones. We're just like, what does this mean? And what does that mean? And you guys were explaining it to us, but it's so important when you think about the inflammation and you go back to the diet. Like, cats are obligate carnivores. They are not created to be able to digest these high amount of carbohydrates and high amount of starches in their food, yet we feed them. And we know that creates inflammation. It creates inflammation for us too, right? But you think about our small little kitties, and you think about all that basically inflammation that you're feeding and what that does to the overall gut. And then over time, it's
I want to say that about the clinical study. It is something that's over time. I think as a society, we're so used to being like, oh, I've got a problem, I'm going to take this pill, and now no more issue, right? This was a 3-month study. It was an initial test, which we got to see some of those results, which some of them were heartbreaking. 3 months of being on our Gut Restore IBD and Gut Restore kit, and then a retest at the end. And the results were really encouraging to just see what supplementation can do, then follow up and look at improving the diet.
Yeah. Which I think is so important, because it is overwhelming, right? We get all this information thrown our way, and we're like, I'm just trying to do the best I can, right? There's days like I joke, I've got my fur baby, and then I have my kids, and I'm like, today I'm just world's most okay mom. That's it. I was world's most okay. And it is like today, yes, where we made it there. Like, I didn't lose my, mind completely, but close. And so I think it's just really important too, to give pet parents the tools to say, take step 1. That's a great step. Let's add in this specific supplement. Let's see what we're doing. And look at there's improvement. Great. Now we're ready for step 2, because it can be a lot. Okay, I'm supposed to feed this way, but now I'm supposed to supplement this way. And I heard probiotics were good. And I think I should be on vitamin D, or is that me as a person? There's so much. And so, yeah, go ahead.
Also, it's too much at one time for people. If you go from 0 to 100, you really can't, most people cannot maintain that, because it's a lot, and it's a lot to keep up with. And I also say too, you also don't know what works, right? So if you come in with a problem, your cat has allergies or IBD or whatever it may be, you buy all these different supplements, change the food, you do all of these things at one time, and then you come back and you're like, well, what things can I get rid of? You don't know which are the ones that work. So
yeah.
Right.
You're so right on.
Right. Yeah. Dr. Katie, wasn't she saying that the supplement graveyard? And that's That's the beauty of test, don't guess,
Yeah.
right? You can actually find out what it is and then specifically treat that, specifically use like a nutraceutical or a supplement or something for that specific finding that
Specific is
is
your word.
specific. It is specifically my specific word. And I think that's exciting because we're guilty of being supplement junkies.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I need my B12, I need my Tremella, I
You
need
should
my
see how
probiotic,
many I
need this.
take every day.
And then I'll just like forget to take it one day. And
I
then
have
that
like
goes
a
into,
ton in my water right now. of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
that
and but to that same point too, if you're not looking to see if your body can actually absorb those supplements or that really great diet, you're flushing money away. And like I mentioned, I came from human medicine and applying this to pet medicine. I was also just as guilty with myself and for my animals until I realized what my body needed. And if my body can absorb it and digest it and actually then get the benefits of what I'm feeding this expensive diet, And so I think it's important to think about that.
Yeah. And it's sad because
Don't
we
be
all
sad.
turn to our vets, right? Like, and we should be able to, we turn to our vets to get answers when there's any kind of symptoms, whether it's topical or internal symptoms. And it's so like conventional medicine is so symptomatic care.
Yeah.
So it's a steroid or a hydrolyzed protein diet. Like those are the two things that we get on a daily basis, people coming to us and saying, my cat has to eat this, or my cat has to be on steroids because they have IBD or because they have some type of, skin issue. They're not getting to the root. And that's why testing is so
And
important.
it's often kibble.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
it's often the hydrolyzed kibble.
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Like
Which is
99% of the time it's a hydrolyzed kibble,
Yeah.
right? Which is just more carbohydrates and starches.
Right.
like we were talking with Flo from Crude Carnivore. You think about,
Sure. Hi,
Flo.
Flo. Shout out to Flo.
Flo.
Great woman. So,
isn't she fantastic?
I
She's
love her.
she's
and a
just
great brand. Great brand. So,
great brand, but so smart, like scary smart, and so passionate about this. And you think about just the power of moisture, and that's something that's really it's really frustrating is the word that's coming to mind, but it is frustrating when specifically frustrating because you have these cats that are really.
I am so glad my sunglasses are there. I was like, where on earth would I have lost these?
Jay lost those
all the way
sunglasses
in Virginia.
at the Nautical Dog.
On the other side
at
of
the
the
Nautical Dog Event weekend. So
Yeah.
I've been holding on to them since July, waiting for this one moment to do this.
You look so good in them. Keep
They do
them.
look good. They
Yeah,
do look
wear
good.
them.
Or we'll get back to
Christmas
the
present.
I know. So sorry, you were saying.
moisture, like bone broth.
Oh,
it's like, we're talking about how it can be overwhelming to do. Everything can be overwhelming, and Dr. Katie talks about it. Flo talks about it. What is the one thing that you can do to help? In whatever way, maybe it's taking something out of their diet. Maybe it's adding bone broth to improve their diet. Little things, but Amanda, like you said, it's difficult when you do go out and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get all this good stuff and just start putting it in my cat or my dog's food. And then something is improving, but you have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
So
And with
testing
cats, I mean,
to
with
get
cats,
specific.
it's like impossible.
results.
Like you can't just say, okay, I'm going to get this new food and all of these supplements and all of this and put it down and give it to my cat. Your
You're
cat's
not gonna eat it. And your cat's like, cool.
yeah. Who are you? Bye.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also too, then I think this is a great point and why I love Amanda's store so much because so say this happens, say like we say you need a probiotic and you're like, awesome. I went and I got this probiotic and guess what happens? The cat said, nope, not touching that one. So then it's again, finding then another one that fits that the cat will actually digest, but the one that's actually a great brand. And that why we rely so heavily on brands out there, whether it's a food or a supplement or a store that carries all of them, that you can go and be educated and say like, okay, you know what? I've been told I need X, Y, and Z. And I see 50 things on Google that just told me or Amazon or wherever that I should buy one of these, which is good. Like, what should I read the ingredients? What ingredients should I look at? And that's just as much as the battle. And so having a place like Nautical Doc that they can help, their team is knowledgeable in those and they only carry great brands.
I did not know this until yesterday. Dr. Katie was talking about I won't name names here, but the most popular probiotic that you can get that's prescribed.
Fortiflora.
And I didn't say it, you did. Yeah,
Name
but
names.
it has, and correct me if I'm wrong with it, titanium dioxide, right?
Dioxide.
Which is in sunscreen. That's fun.
Yeah.
I didn't
It's now like even the FDA came out and talked about titanium dioxide and how it needs to be removed from human foods.
Yeah.
Now but it's still in so many. But it's also just one strain. Like Fortiflora is just one strain of probiotics.
Right.
It's
But-
not feeding. Like it's more of an appetite stimulant.
To be fair, a lot of
Yeah.
people do use it more for the appetite stimulant part of
Right.
it. When cats are really dealing with, and it's so important for cats to eat. But also,
But not titanium
when it comes
dioxide.
to
No.
but when it comes to probiotics, it is true that you want to, because gut health, microbiome, it's such a buzz right now
Yeah.
in the human world, and there's all this pushback about probiotics are I almost said a bad word. It was
That's
a
okay. We don't care.
that's abbreviated into BS, right? Like they say
Right.
it gets such pushback. And that's because there are a lot of probiotics on the market.
Well, there's bad actors. Some of
Yeah.
these bad actors enter the market. And if it's an unregulated market, which naturally a lot of the supplement companies are both in human and in pet medicine, there's not as much regulation as there are on a prescription. And so it's, yeah.
Well, it's big pharma, right? Like the FDA won't regulate supplements and specifically pet supplements because there's no money in it for them. But big pharma has plenty. So
Yeah.
that's
why it is
regulate
really,
medicine.
Amanda, especially what you do, all the education and all the vetting that you do bringing products into your store, it is important to find, companies with integrity, like Adored
Yeah.
Beast, like finding these companies that they're not there. The profit is not the bottom line. The
Right.
passion is, and they create products, regulated or not, that are so quality and beneficial.
They self-regulate, right? They have their own standard of this is our threshold that we won't cross. And I think that's important. Again, coming back to, you should ask tough questions of your brands and of your companies that you work with. Like
Who owns them? Who owns them? Where are they making it at? What's their
Yes.
history?
Do they validate with a third party? Do they, is there, and I get a lot of times too, like, well, where are the studies that showed X, Y, and Z? And listen, studies are expensive, right? That's a lot of money. And a lot of these supplement and food, they don't have that kind of money to do that. But if they're basing it on science and pulling it from articles, those are the studies that they pull from. And so I think like people like instantly want to be like, well, show me the, we are always like, what's the evidence in it? We don't do all of our own analytes in-house. We look at the articles being done and the research to do, and that's how you can prove it out and create thresholds. And so, sorry, I get on my soapbox about that sometimes. We're like, well, there's no evidence in this. And I'm like, well, show me the evidence eating McDonald's every day is going to do good. No one's going to study that. Like, it's not, so
Right.
It's true.
I'm not going to put money in disproving it. So
I want to ask both of you guys separately. I'll start with Jay and Adrian first. I asked Dr. Katie this yesterday. Top 3 things for gut health. Like, I come to you, my cat is healthy, normal, doesn't appear to have anything wrong with it. I'm just feeding whatever. Why should I do anything? But I want my cat to live a long time. What are the 3 things that I'm doing to keep my cat happy, healthy? And
Yeah.
live forever?
So we've got like, basically I want to help my cat have a healthier gut, right? So digestive enzymes, probiotics, and a mixture of probiotics. I don't think it's good to feed one probiotic all the time.
Oh,
Like,
I am so glad you said that.
yeah, and omega-3 fatty
Okay.
acids. And that's basically because, especially if you're feeding any kind of processed food, which is the overwhelming majority, like 99% of cat parents, even if they're feeding a good
Wet food.
it's still a processed food and it's heated. And so those ingredients are like, they are removed, right? Like even in raw food diets, you think about the digestive enzymes, unless you're feeding pancreas in the food, and most cats aren't going to eat that, and they're not getting the digestive enzymes. So those are the 3.
I don't know which one of the 3 I would take away, but after that podcast with Flo, I gotta say bone broth in there.
Yeah.
The effect that it has on the gut to help, take down the fire of inflammation if there's inflammation there, what it does with the collagen, what it does with the little micronutrients. I think that's something.
And as a food.
Yes. And as a food consistently added, I think that benefit is also there. So
Yeah.
I just added a little 3-point.
Yeah. 3.
One real quick. So you said bone broth, and I just want to touch on this for just like 2 seconds because this gets brought up quite frequently in my store. So you mentioned Crude Carnivore. Crude Carnivore is a bone broth. Love them. Great product. I sell it in the store here. My dogs and even my cats like it. So there's that. Everyone a lot of times will be like, why just buy bone broth at the store? And read your ingredients.
Yeah, I gotta read the ingredients.
A lot of them have onions in them, which
Right.
is, and so I actually had a friend of mine. I told her she doesn't live near me, and she doesn't have like a cool pet store near her. So I told her to get bone broth, and I didn't really think I needed to tell her, but I did. And she was like, oh my gosh, I gave my dog this and was like ill and like had diarrhea and all this stuff. And I was like, oh. So anyways, just keep that in mind if you don't have like
And and the sodium count. We did that recently. We went to Whole Foods because we needed bone broth for
years ago.
making
Pooh Bear had an acute hit of gastroenteritis, and we were like, we've got to get something. We've got to get some bone broth. So it was like we went to Whole Foods, went to Sprouts. We could not find a bone broth without onions
or a really high salt count
or crazy sodium.
It's really hard to find.
Yep.
So
just buy Crude Carnivore.
Get Crude Carnivore. Yeah.
But I just wanted to point that out. So don't go like run to the store and get that without.
Yeah.
You could end up with more problems.
Issues.
Yeah.
Jamie, what are you?
My 3. So I would say normalize gut testing as part of your yearly preventative care. So thinking through, we do parasites every year. We do a wellness exam. But one of our big goals is to check the gut as part of preventative care versus reactive care. I get that why people find us because there's a problem, but ultimately understanding that this is part of the solution. And so preventing the problem. It's my number 1. Yes, I'm biased. I have a testing company. But also in general, I test everything. Like I want to know. I want to know the things. So there's that. I would say too that like if you don't know where to begin and whatnot, like a good pre-postbiotic or prebiotic as well mixed in with that's really important. It does make a big difference and it can make a big difference quickly. And so I think that is like, if you have to pick one thing to just try immediately, go that route. But I love your thoughts on the pancreatic enzymes because so currently with our cat product right now, we don't report out 2 analytes. One of them is called pancreatic elastase, and that looks at digestion and absorption of food and how the pancreas can break it down. The reason we don't report it out on cats right now is because when we were validating the product, one, there was not great research in cats around it, which may point back to what you said in that they don't make enough or they need higher levels than what they're currently being given. So when we validated it, we got a lot of like zeros on cats, and we definitely get zeros on dogs still because as you age, your pancreas becomes less efficient as people, as dogs. But what we couldn't figure out was what was going on with the cats. Was the sample not stable enough? Was it breaking down too fast? We have some hypothesis is why we still are kept it in R&D or in research and development as we're looking at it. But I love that you said that because I think one of the bigger things that we've had aha moments out over the course of this last couple of years, we've been in market specifically on animals, is that how I think pancreatic enzymes are one of our fastest ways to improve our symptomatic patients, so the patients that came in with problems, and the fact that they instantly see what we see low in our dogs when we have a low pancreatic elastase, and we say give them the pancreatic enzyme, we see those symptoms turn around so fast.
Yep.
Than anyone out there, and I think this is a bigger problem in animal health. Now, it's not proven out. I am not speaking clinically. My scientific team have not approved my statements at the moment. It is a hypothesis. All the disclaimers. Is there another disclaimer, Dr. Betsy? I'm sorry I didn't say it, but
it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to do it.
Yeah, but honestly, it's been exciting to us, which I hate to say exciting about a problem, but that we're like this really is a big issue.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Finding a correlation.
Honestly, so I don't remember when it was, but Dr. Karen Becker was talking about a study. So maybe we can find that study, but she was talking about a study in cats that they were their pancreas was studied after death, and they didn't all die of like pancreatitis, but
Right.
every single one of them, and I want to say there was 100, like there might have been 200. There was a lot of cats that they studied after death, and they all had pancreatitis, like all of them.
Wow.
So
I think there is. And again, so when that happens, you can be giving the best diet and you can be giving the best supplements, but if they are not breaking it down, they're not absorbing it. So you are flushing away those dollars with no impact.
correct.
And so adding in that enzyme is really important.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. And then I'll double tap on hydration because dogs, cats, people, more water. We need a lot more liquid than what we are giving ourselves. And it's like it's skin, coat, overall health and wellness can really improve that way. So
Yeah.
I gave 4. I didn't even do a 3A. I just did 4.
I love it. I love it.
What are yours,
I
Amanda?
have the enzymes in my water right now too.
Amanda, what are yours?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm gonna say food. It's always food to me. Food.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I kind of started, with the store, and I have a lot of cats. I have 6 at my house, and I
Did you
have
say you're a crazy cat lady?
1,000%. I also have 5 dogs, so I don't know what that is. I don't know how many what that makes.
there's
me.
no number. It's more of a mindset.
But I take a lot of problem kids, my shop cats here are old and ancient, and if the vet calls me that someone wants to euthanize something that's really old because of its age, and it usually ends up at my house. So that's how I've ended up with a couple of mine, but they're hard. And I think the biggest thing with cats here, obviously it's food. I hear this more than anything, and you guys probably do too, but when people come in, they say, well, I feed dry most of the time and I use wet as a treat. We need to reverse that.
Yep.
Correct.
Like, use the wet or your raw as the main food and use your dry as a treat, if at all. So it's funny, I had Chili, who was one of our previous shop cats. She passed away around Christmas. She was my sassy, spicy orange female tabby, and she was a dry food junkie. Like, I mean, I adopted her when she was probably 12, and she would break open bags of dog food at night in the store. Like, she loved. She was so fat because she broke open bags of dry dog food. And this was a cat that I was like, if you're one of my cats, you're going to eat raw food and you're going to do this and do that. And she wasn't having anything of it. We ended up switching her. But what we did with her, because she was just such this dry food junkie, we got like the treat balls that she had to work for. And we would put the dry food in there, and we made her work for it. And it was more of a treat. But yes, I see Kim just commented about Chili. She was a good, sassy, spicy girl. But yeah, so food. And then again, I think part 2 of that with the food is the patience, because, dogs will eat just about anything you put down with it. Cats are like, F you.
Yeah.
I don't like this. This doesn't look like what I'm used to eating to. It doesn't smell like it. The temperature is weird. I'm not going to eat it. And I see so many people get so hung up that their cat didn't eat it on the first time, and they think it's not going to eat it. And it has taken me 2 months to get a cat before to switch over to what I wanted to. So,
6
It took
months.
us 6.
all right. See, I mean, it's hard, and it takes a long time, and it takes patience. So I do think, and that comes with, making their gut better, is getting them on that appropriate diet that doesn't just wreak havoc on their system.
Yeah.
And but patience is I think part of that, because all the time, like, my cat didn't eat this, and I'm like, how many days did you try it? And just try a little bit of it. Try like the size of like your fingernail, wet food. So
Yeah, transitioning a cat to a better diet is typically more of a user problem than a cat problem. We say a user error, right? We say patience and perseverance pays, and it does. It takes patience, and it takes consistently offering and giving or mixing or trickery to get your cat onto a better diet. But it does work. It takes a lot.
I'm going to add conviction in there though too, because I was the biggest problem with transitioning.
She's always
because it's just heartbreaking to me.
it is.
It's like, this is what, like, this brings him, and I was raised by a beautiful Italian mom. You know, food is love, and
Yeah.
it's food, and
Your love language.
yes. And so it's heartbreaking when you know that your cat is like, and they're turning their nose up at the new stuff, and it's like, oh my God, what's like, we're not going to suffer together like this. I'm just going to give him his dry food.
And I've done it,
It takes conviction.
you know.
And it does. Sometimes it is a tough 2 months. Sometimes it's a tough 2 weeks. Sometimes it's a tough year.
Yeah.
But we're adding life together
Yes.
to the time.
And it's not always like, so don't be scared for anyone watching. Don't be scared that your cat's not going to eat the food either, right? Like a lot of people will be like, well, they're old and they've always been on kibble, so there's no way I'm going to get them to a better diet. When we learned more and started to do better and went through the transition, our oldest at the time was 18 and he took 1 week, and we were the slow ones. We were like, well, we should, at
Don't
least
you want a
transition
little-
him slowly. It took him 1 week to go from raw or to go from kibble to raw.
Yeah.
And because that's what his body wanted. That's what his body
No digestive upset.
No.
I don't know if you have experiences with your cats, but my cats at home, they really like body parts, like raw body parts. And those have been the things to get them one. I know, y'all stop.
I feel like you could say organ meat and not
Organ-
the raw body part, but yeah.
I was like, yeah,
I guess
absolutely. It's great.
things like
No,
that.
hold
Sure,
on though.
yeah,
I just
raw
have
body.
to. I don't know if we can.
Okay.
One finger.
Okay.
You're missing an ear.
This could go a lot of ways.
Nobody likes to go.
We're good. I don't know. But anyways, we sell in the store a lot of frozen items that are like that. And they're like more on the gross side, think of like what your cat wants to go outside and find you and bring to you. And I've transitioned a lot of my cats that way. Yesterday I was giving my cats raw minnows and they were in heaven. Now my cats are raw eaters, but still, that might be a way or to even just get fresh food into the diet in general, even if you're just doing a kibble, like get some fresh food in there.
Yeah. Organ meat is like one of those like hacks. It's like a super hack because it's a super food.
It's a body part.
And the body parts are really, really awesome. Yeah. No, but I mean like liver, like chicken hearts, like these kind of things, like even
nutrient dense, they're great.
Yes. Yeah. And most cats, those are kind of like treats for most cats.
Yeah.
But it can be it can actually like reignite their instinct too.
Yeah.
My issue with the body parts has always been, going back to the beginning where Jay's a 12-year-old, is that when we've tried this, she has more fun chasing me around the house with a frozen quail or a bunny foot or something than she does
It's
giving
so
our
much
cats
fun.
an enrichment. Here.
It is so much fun. I'll be like, look, babe. And she'll be,
Yeah. So a fun story, a little off topic, but one topic. We sell in the store like freeze-dried duck heads, and they're really gross. We have a lot of weird things in the store. So my dogs love them, and they're in my pantry. I have like a whole section in there that's for my dogs and their cats and their treats. Well, I have one cat. He is like, it's a good thing he's probably only 10 pounds, because if he was any bigger, he would just be, I always look at him, I'm like, he's a black cat. I'm like, if he was like a actual panther, like we would be dead. So my mom was at my house and he jumped up in the pantry and grabbed this freeze-dried duck head down, and my mom about lost it. She was like, what is this? What is in your pantry? What do you have here? And she's not used to these things. So anyways, then my cat is running around the house with this freeze-dried duck head, and anyone that got near him or any other animal he was growling at, and he ate the whole thing. So there you go. He enjoyed himself.
Yeah.
It is a little jarring sometimes, especially like we're used to it. But I think it was at your summit, the Girls Gone Raw.
Yeah.
Gave us like these little goodie bags with like little feet in them and whatnot. And
rabbit feet.
The other day,
love them.
Yes, and I got home and I like put the bag up and like, I found the other day and my kids got out there running around the same thing. They're running around the house with me, like with these feet coming after me. And June, my dog, is chasing us too. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, if somebody walks in, I have a lot of explaining to do at the moment. So
That would be awesome.
it is a little jarring sometimes.
I do think those things, like you said, they kind of make your cat excited. I mean, let's be serious. I mean, all of my cats are indoors, but if they could get outside, I can tell you they're gonna bring me back something, and these are the things that they like. So,
And I
Yep.
think it's really, it is something that's actually jarring and difficult for me. But I do think when we, the closer that you get to nature, when you recognize what a cat is as a species and how they are wired to operate and all of that, it is one of the most enriching things that you can do to not just feed them a biologically appropriate food, but to give them that
enrichment.
that excitement of you watch when your cat gets a duck head. They know exactly what to do. It is a moment for them, and it really does give them that they are truly sinking into their feline instincts. So many behaviorists will say, and I love that Dr. Katie mentioned that specifically regarding gut health, is that sometimes it is a behavioral change or a neurological issue. And when you think about what it is to give your cat the something that really engages their instincts, it is a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked to like Dr. Margot Roman, and when they're talking about like the gut microbiome and the poop transplants, right? Like he's like those
are great.
They do.
Yeah. And it's like the stories that she has about the cats specifically, that when they get their very first like microbiome restorative therapy, they are poop transplant. They are a whole new cat. Like the anger issues that they had, the aggression that they had go away. Like it's like
inner cat,
and it's that gut brain access, right?
It is. It's so important, and that's another one of those like really sick cats and dogs. Those case studies that getting that transplant and having immediate changes, it's pretty inspiring. So there's some really great stuff going on in that area.
Yeah. So heal the gut, heal the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I see we have some questions in here. I'm gonna pop one up. Jamie, this looks like a sciencey question.
Where's Betsy when we need her? Okay, with the test be able to tell high eosinophils. Okay, so eosinophils, and again, disclaimer, not a scientist. I luckily work with some incredible ones, but I've worked in this industry a long time, so I will give my best at it and try not to get myself in trouble. But so eosinophils, typically there's probably some sort of immune reaction. Sometimes it's, in humans, I think autoimmune, fungal, and pets and people, immune issues going on that typically create high eosinophils. It could be a parasite. There's a marker out there that we actually looked at bringing to this test, and we paused it. It's called eosinophil protein X. And it does deal if there's like a parasitic issue going on, it can spike. So ultimately, like if you're seeing that in regular blood work, I do think there's a benefit in doing this test, because we can look at, is there an immune issue? Is secretory IgA being impacted? That's the first line of defense of the gut. Is inflammatory issues causing this? So it kind of goes to that next level, especially if you're trying some things when it was high and you're still seeing the symptoms there. I would definitely look at this and looking at like, there's a lot of things that we look at in blood that we also look at in stool. They don't directly correlate, but they can also kind of tell the same story or confirm the story that's happening. So when I see that, I typically would want to know, is there an immune issue going on? And that's what I'd want to look for. Yeah. So, and I'm assuming that was negative parasites. And so if you are negative parasites with high eosinophils, then I would look at that. Disclaimer, not a vet, not a scientist, but
helpful.
I played one on TV. So
she said that she's negative for parasites with stool.
Yep. So yeah. So I want to know, okay, that's, typically we see that spike when there's parasites presence, but it's worth them going that next step.
Also shout out to Bryce and Kinsey who are here, and they
hey, BK in the house.
BK
Ooh,
yeah. Oh,
how do we do that?
I don't know. We're special.
We're special.
No,
I think I switched mine off because I realized when I did this, like I talk like this a lot, and it was like balloons or something went off, and I was like, trying to be serious, like my point is, and then balloons.
I want to I'm looking up through the questions here. There's one thing that I wanted to put up here, and this is a customer of mine, and Jamie knows about this, but this is test related. This is a customer of mine, Melanie. She bought at the summit, she bought the test from us, and she has a cat who, and I know I've dealt with the cat for years here, that every vet has told her that it had a chicken allergy and it had IBS. She did the test. And yes, so and she sent me the email about it. She sent Jamie the email as well.
We shared it. We shared Penny's story because we love Penny. So thank you. Thank you, Melanie.
That was just exciting for me because that was, close to here, and I got to hear, and we get to continue to help the cat with it. So, and she also said that the litter box issues were resolved. So I would like to touch on that, and I think we can all agree here, litter box issues are such a thing. They happen all the time. And I, work with cat rescues, and we have the whole cat cove in here, and we've had cats that get rehome because they have litter box issues, which is so unfortunate because we know, don't go crying on me today, Adrian. But they get rehome for these things that are fixable, and cats don't do anything without having a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, and they can't say this hurts. That's why I'm doing this. How I'm getting your attention because this hurts and I'm uncomfortable and I don't know what else to do. And so, I mean, we get it a lot. And especially when I hear the ones about like my dog or cat can't eat anything. Right. And my first question is like, well, do they have a leaky gut? Because of course they can't, because they're reacting to everything. So fix the leaky gut. And then do the rotation or the, sensitivities looking at that or whichever way you go. But it happens so often that I'm always just first like, check to see if there's a leaky gut. Cause it's probably, if your gut is leaking and it's the, food particles are coming through that should not be, bacteria, pathogens, then your body thinks like, let's attack because this should not be present where it is because it's leaking through. And so anytime I hear about like, well, I can't, my pet can't eat anything, then I think, well, they probably can, but
you brought that up to me one time when someone does an allergy test and everything comes up red.
Yeah.
So your pet is likely not actually allergic to every single one of those items. There's there's a bigger picture thing going on there. So
yeah, it's scary. You get it back, like, cool, I can't feed anything. So,
I mean, and those, they're so I don't know if you guys knew this, but we worked in like dog health for 10 years prior to starting our predominantly dog health. I think there was
we love
a few horses, but it was like, that was like 99% of what we did. This was before there was testing out there but it was just allergy test. It was, client after client coming to us because their dog had itchy skin, hot spots, allergies, and they got their the allergy test, and it came back allergic to everything, including human dander, including them, right? Like they're allergic to grass, they're allergic to trees, they're allergic to protein, they're allergic to literally everything.
Yeah.
And we would just say, we need to heal the gut. We just have to use some supplement and a better diet and heal the gut. And those symptoms went away every time. That was it was basically their business was healing the gut.
I want to real quick. I know I took off for 1 second, but you had mentioned that litter box question, those litter box issues. I think back to it's such a great live yesterday with Dr. Katie, when she was talking about brain on fire and how serious that sounds or whatever, but what does that look like? And it can be these behavioral changes or neurological decline. And when it comes to understanding our cats, realizing that bathroom time, if your cat starts peeing outside, always take them to the vet, make sure there's not a urinary tract issue. Right. When your health is cleared and this is still going on, like you think about this as one of those things that you can really explore, because bathroom time for cats is a vulnerable time. If they are stressed out, if there's inflammation going on in their brain, and that is part of it, that is something that can be such a challenge for any family to have cat pee all over the place. We know this personally. It's exhausting. So just being able to test for something like that, if you feel like you're at the end of the rope, being able to test and see if everything is actually not on fire.
Yes.
That can really help that issue as well. Litter box issues are so common and really.
And it gets your attention though. So that's
like, look at me, I hurt. I don't feel good. Something's wrong.
But unfortunately, it's the number one reason that cats are returned to shelters.
Yep.
So this is a really empowering tool to be able to continue giving them a much better life.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you all, we get one of the biggest complaints I get from people when they do our test, and I always want to address it is, because I get it. They say everything came back normal. And
That's great. That's good.
Symptomatic. I know. And that's what I always want to start with. This is awesome. I understand why you're still frustrated. And so then there's other avenues to go down for those kind of things too. But like, sometimes like it's just not one of those things. So there's other areas to go down. And so,
Yeah.
But it still streamlines
yes,
the whole process of really trying to get to the root of the issue. And you have to really admire people that are willing to do that.
Yeah. What does the lab smell like?
Oh, we joke. Like, if it's like a lot of samples in the day, or like smells like, like it's solving problems in here. Like, but we use more colorful language and have a lot of fun with it. It doesn't smell good. Does not. No. Yeah. But honestly, I've worked in stool poop health for so long. It's like, it doesn't even faze me anymore. It doesn't smell how you think it would. It's just it's not a pleasant smell, but it's like, I don't know. We used to, when I worked in human medicine, and I would give lab tours to like new employees, or when clients would come in and we would do these lab tours, but I would always schedule them in the morning because nobody wanted to be at 3 o'clock when the sun's streaming in the poop lab, because that's not so, but it is, it's not pleasant. It's not terrible, but it's an interesting smell. So
Interesting. Okay.
Sounds fun. Before we do this drawing, I just really quick, we keep talking about if your cat or dog has leaky gut and, steps. What do we do? Like, what's the easiest thing to fix leaky gut?
I mean, that's such a hard.
I know it's kind of a loaded question, but
so it comes back to, it's like not a one size fits all, and that's why it really is important. So there are definitely things that, like, quick fixes that you could try that you're like, listen, I don't have time, or or I don't have the money to test, so I can only do one thing, and that's where I start with a great diet, a really great supplement, and go there. But typically, when we find that somebody has leaky gut, our recommendations center around like a good prebiotic, postbiotic, prebiotic and probiotic. Sorry, not postbiotic. Like a slippery elm, a real soothing. There's great research going into, like you said, like broths and mushrooms and things like that. And so, what is more important to us is making the specific recommendation based on what's off. So, it's not a one size fits all, and it shouldn't be. You're unique. I'm unique. My cat's unique. What we actually did a study. Well, it was 2 litter mates, and they were sisters. It was dogs born, obviously same day, same diet, same supplement, same medical care. They made the same choices around vaccinations and things like that. And they did the test, and one of them needed completely different supplements than the other one. And so it just goes to show you that we're all unique.
All different.
Yeah.
One more question that's not necessarily gut related, but
anyway, to make my fighting, I put them in separate rooms on the toilet and other room. It's kind of difficult once all the other ones started crying. Candida. So this is, if you've done the testing, if they're both been to the vet and they're both healthy, then I would recommend doing a reintroduction first. And if you've already even done that, you can shoot us a DM. We have a great blog on how to do that we learned from Feline Behaviorist, which would then be my next recommendation, because feline behaviorists, I believe, are truly one of the most underutilized resources for us cat people to better understand our own cats from their individual perspectives. And we've had just really great experiences consulting with feline behaviorists.
Yeah.
But definitely reach out to us. We will shoot you all the resources we already have to try to help that, because we know how heartbreaking that is.
Especially if it's
family.
like suddenly, like 2 like bonded pair, and then they suddenly just start fighting. It's usually a redirected aggression thing. We've seen it several times. We've been through it. So we can help. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do one more question that someone just popped up. And then in the meantime, if you have not commented, because we're going to do that raffle for the test, #CatGutHealth. Where did this question go?
Madison.
Hey, Madison.
Look at that baby. Gut health from their company, and they gave products. Great. And there's still issues. So yeah, this comes back to, like, when we say gut, it's not just one thing. So my guess is probably is maybe a microbiome, because it's really the only gut health testing that's currently out there. Great product, great tool. We should definitely be looking at the microbiome. But when it's not microbiome related, there's other areas we need to be looking at. And so is it an inflammatory reason why you're having that? Is it a leaky gut? Is it digestion, toxification? Is it immune suppression? And so, clearing up one area is awesome, but then there's other areas to focus on. And that's why we do a comprehensive test so we can focus on multiple areas of gut health and of the gut in general. And so it sounds like there's still maybe solved one problem with the microbiome, but now you need to look at, is there something else going on there?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And I say that for anyone that, especially so many cats get diagnosed with IBD, and it's basically a process of elimination, or like just the vet looking at certain symptoms and throwing it in there. But like, if like this test is what you need to really get to the actual root, like those crappy diets are only going to make it worse. Metronidazole will absolutely make it worse. The studies have already shown that. So like these, these quick fixes and these medications are not the route to go.
Set it back.
Yeah.
That basically touched on metronidazole yesterday. So go back and watch that one if you haven't watched it. But
oh my gosh,
like, make things really good, and then it depletes everything, and then you're back to what you want, or even worse. So
it's like masking the problem versus solving the root cause, right? Like,
well, and it's not even like it might be a really quick fix, but long term you're going to have more and more of this. Like the studies around metronidazole and cats specifically, one round, and it's like it has literally removed all of the like good bacteria in the gut to process protein. I forget what those big words are, but like it's literally like now your cat will have an issue
like a nuclear
ongoing that might not be able to be reversed. So like you got to know this, like yeah.
I see a question. Madison is asking, what is the name of the company for the testing? It's Innovative Pet Lab, and then Jay and Adrian are from the Two Crazy Cat Ladies.
We love you, Madison.
All right, so I am going to do this drawing, and I have to say thank you to you guys for teaching me this fun trick. Fun story, I did a live with Jay and Adrian, and they're like, how are you going to draw? And I'm like, well, after the live, I'm going to like put all the things together. And they're like, no, it does it for you.
We learned this from Brad, though, with Steve's Real Food. So give credit where credit is. Just keep passing it along.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Let's do it.
I know nothing about social media. I'm the worst.
Why is it not sharing it though? What is it not doing?
You have to hit draw.
I know. Is it showing on the screen though?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't see it, y'all.
You.
There we are.
And
you are the winner of this fantastic test. My screen is not working now.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad Sun Moon won.
Oh, great.
Because they said my vet thinks it's flea. I don't know what the first one was, but my vet thinks it's fleas causing the itching, but no one seems to be 100% sure. So whether it's fleas or food allergy, it doesn't matter because it could be gut health.
So now you will know.
Yeah, I know, June. Yay.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So you can message the Nautical Dog, and I will get your info, and we will get you your test. And I love that Paul said concatulations. I'm gonna use that one.
I'm stealing that, Paul. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
What is the
So I know we could talk about this. This is like a never-ending topic, and it's always evolving, and we're always learning. And what is this?
We're just trying to be cool, kids. I was
How
trying
do
to be.
we do this? I don't know how to do these things.
Congratulations.
There we go. Congratulations.
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 Congratulations. I can't talk now. But it's always learning. Our cats are always, and dogs are always changing. They get older, things change, lifestyles change. So it's never something that's always going to stay the same. So
yeah, always
thank you, ladies. Y'all are always so delightful and super fun to talk to. And we will have
I love how at the beginning of this, we're like, oh, are we going to be able to talk for like 45 minutes? It's an hour.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
It's a great.
This is what we have to talk about to fill 30 minutes. So we'll see how it goes. Like,
yeah, see where we are. So yes, let's chat again soon. There's always something to talk about. And thank you to everyone for coming on. Hope you learned something. Hope your animals can benefit from at least something that we talked about today.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys soon. Bye, y'all.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.